Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Hello, Colton Brown. How you doing this afternoon?
As I understand it, I'm probably feeling a bit better than yourself. Would that be an accurate statement?
It's an accurate statement. I went out and went to a birthday party yesterday, and mistakes were made, and I just don't feel tip-top today. But I'm here. I'm here for you on a special day. This is a very special day we were recording. Colton Brown, will you be my Valentine?
Oh, yes, of course. You caught me off guard. I was just like, special day. I was like, what's happening? Oh, I see what's happening here. Yes, of course I will be.
That's
of course.
nice, man.
So we're recording a little bit later than anticipated, but hopefully there won't be as much lag time getting it up as usual. So we'll see how that works out. I make no promises, of course. But it's going to be a pretty fun episode. We don't have a love romantic movie or anything like that to talk about, but we've got a good, fun kids movie to talk about. Maybe something there for adults too, I would say. And that is the Lego Movie 2, the second part. And I'm excited. I've been looking forward to talking about this one since I've seen it, which, as it turns out, it's been a few days now. Before we get going, I do want to talk about Patreon for just a minute. I know some people are probably sick of me talking about fucking Patreon or whatever, but we've got quite a few things actually happening on that front, and some exciting things, I hope. So first of which, Ballad of Buster Scruggs was our not our most recent bonus episode, but the one prior to that. That is now available to all listeners on the regular feed. Hopefully some of you have had the chance to listen to that. If not, make sure you catch that film. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original Coen Brothers film. Definitely worth a look. 6 short stories kind of stitched together as one big movie, and then go listen to the episode. Our current bonus episode, which is a Patreon timed exclusive, is on the Ace Ventura franchise, and it was a blast to record, I will tell you that much, and I hope that translates to the listening experience as well. It's definitely a drunken listening, or a drunken recording experience, I should say, but it was on the lighter side of things, and it was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, so hopefully people have fun with that. And more serious things are in the pipeline. We have a big thing we're undertaking. We're going to do the entire Game of Thrones series up until season 8, and then we're going to do season 8 when that drops in May. So we got a lot of TV to watch. I think both you and I have started on our quest for finishing season 1, and the goal is to have that probably recorded hopefully within the next I'll say a week to be generous, but hopefully sooner than that, and then that will be up on Patreon as a timed exclusive, and then of course we'll be probably trying to target a roughly 2-ish week timeline for each season. So it's pretty aggressive, and there's some ebbs and flows kind of in there to work around my school schedule and whatnot, but it's a lot. It's definitely a lot, but it's going to be fun. I'm more than halfway through the first season, and I'm already kind of excited to see what comes next, because I've seen season 1 a lot. Let's put it that way. The later seasons I've probably only seen once when they aired. So looking forward to talking about those with you when we do get around to finishing those seasons. Now, having said that, would you like to share with our listeners a fun fact, perhaps concerning the Lego Movie 2, the second part?
Yes. So I have there's a lot of Legos used in this movie. The largest character is a character from the first one, so it's not too spoilerific. His name's Metalbeard.
Okay, I was going to guess that, but I didn't know if I was missing something. Yeah, Metalbeard. Classic Nick Offerman. Mm-hmm.
And he was made up of 251 bricks.
Oh, okay.
It says that there were 6,530 Lego models used to create the movie, and 3,433 unique brick types were used. And let's see here. The largest model used in the movie is a spaceship called the Mega Bash.
Is that Mr. Rex Danger Vest's spaceship?
Yes.
Is that the one? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I can see it. Yep.
And it was approximately 9 foot by 9 foot by 18. That's what it says. 9 feet by 9 feet by 18.
That sounds very large. Indeed.
It's very large. Yeah, it doesn't give a brick count though. So
I would imagine a lot, unless they're using some big ass bricks or whatever. Yeah, that's a lot.
The largest landscape in the movie was the wasteland, which that was in a trailer. Wasteland Citadel Freeway is what they called that landscape, and it was 476 foot by 182 foot. So very large, real set pieces used in this movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's a pretty fun fact, right?
Yeah, I wonder if the first one probably has something like the making of, but if not, hopefully the second one will have it. I actually would be kind of curious to see, because I just kind of take it for granted. I'm like, this is cool. It's fucking Legos moving and shit, but there's no hands like, walking it down and animating them around or whatever. So
there's like a layer of CG in there too.
Right, yeah. So I assume it's a mix of CG practical, but I don't know exactly where the line gets drawn with how they do it. So I don't know. It'd definitely be interesting to figure that out. But very cool, very interesting set of fun facts, really. If you don't mind, I might actually have a fun fact of my own to add.
What do you got, man?
Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
So this is actually not really concerning any brick counts or anything like that, but it does concern, of course, a Lego brick. So Stephanie Beatriz is an actress that voices General Mayhem in this second movie, if you recall that character. Yeah, and she has a very distinctive facial scar, kind of over her eyebrow. And April 30th, 2014, someone asked her on Twitter, "How'd you get your scar?" And she gave them two options. First one was a knife fight, which that'd be pretty badass. But the second option she gave was that she tripped on some Legos when she was 10. So perhaps it's almost fate that she would have this kind of distinctive look. Of course, we don't see that in the movie.
What's this woman's name?
That she's Stephanie Beatriz. She's I think most famous for being on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and like I said, she voiced a character in this movie. So I feel like it was a bit of fate that she ends up voicing this character in the fucking Lego movie of all things. So
that's crazy.
So I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know where I read that.
That's a fun fact.
I think she said something about it on Collider, and then I think someone kind of sourced that back to the Twitter, but I don't know where I stumbled upon this information in the first place, because I don't think it was through Collider. But anyway, it's what I got. Like I said, so I'm adding it. I'm taking my brick and I'm stacking it on top of the mini bricks that you laid for our
Very
listeners.
Nice.
So
it goes full circle.
Now let's move on to some news for this week. We're gonna try to keep it tight. But yeah, I think we got a little bit loosey-goosey with news, certainly on the last episode with all those Super Bowl spots. But I think we can have a tighter affair this go around. Let me start with my man, Aquaman. Now, my man Aquaman is doing so well that WB has decided to, as far as I can tell, greenlight a spinoff from Aquaman. Now, the wheels start turning in your brain. You're like, oh, spinoff from Aquaman. What's it going to be like? Maybe there's a Mara spinoff, female superhero movies that are probably going to be pretty in. Captain Marvel's about to make bank. Well, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe you could have a fucking Dolph Lundgren spinoff, man. I'd watch that shit.
That would be cool. Absolutely.
Or fucking Willem Dafoe with his ponytail. That would be pretty good. Or you could make a spinoff about The Trench. Which apparently DC is doing
a
now.
Horror movie, right?
Now, I don't know if it was the last episode or the one prior to that. I speculated about the DC whiteboard where they just write everything on there, and then they just kind of close their eyes and spin around in their chair a few times, and then they point at something and they're like, "God damn it, that's the movie we're making." And I cannot explain this movie without resorting to that exact explanation yet again. Horror-tinged script centered on the trench, the deadly amphibious creatures seen attacking Aquaman and Mara and Aquaman for like a 2-minute sequence of this film at best. Pretty cool sequence, don't get me wrong, but like, seriously? Like, I know this movie made $1 billion, but...
Right.
I guess the one thing is, obviously, I don't think this is intended to be some grandeur type thing. It sounds like it's probably going to be a pretty low budget thing, but it's just kind of like... Really? This is what you got? You've got this whole smorgasbord of fucking characters in your backlog, your DC backlog, and this is the movie you want to like throw some money at. Like, Like, I know DC's been doing better lately, but sometimes you just look at this shit and you just gotta wonder, like, what the fuck are they thinking up to?
I look at them every time.
What is the man upstairs thinking about? You know, like, what's the play here? So, again, Aquaman made $1 billion. Maybe I'm not the one that should be questioning them. Maybe you're not the one that should be questioning them. I really don't know, but I can say that this news just baffles me.
I think other things would perform better. Surely.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those things. You make a thing on a modest budget, and you hope for somewhat better than modest returns. And if nothing else, it's a push. You're not plopping $300 million on a Justice League type affair that disappoints financially. And I could certainly see this as kind of the counter argument to doing something like that. But like, hey, if you're going to spend $300 million on a movie, then don't make fucking Justice League. So. Anyway, that's what DC's up to these days. The Trench. So there you go. What do you got?
I'd like to address the big blue man in the room. The thing that's taken the internet by storm.
I thought we were going to save the quote unquote best for last, but yes, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
It needs to be addressed.
We got to get it out of the way. I understand. I 100% understand. So
that Disney released a special look for Aladdin.
They did. I think it aired during the Grammys, about a minute long, but it's the first, I think, real footage we've seen from this movie. I know I think we saw some pictures from Entertainment Weekly. We saw Will Smith as a very Will Smith-looking genie a little while back, right?
And then he needed to look blue.
And we were kind of just, exactly, it was like, this isn't very good. Where's the blue genie? Well, we got a blue genie. How do you feel now?
Fuck. That's very frightening.
Do you almost want to go back to those simpler times when you're just like, you know what? Will Smith is fine. We'll take the Will Smith at this point.
Everything, the special feature or whatever, it looked fine. It looked fine up until the very end. I was okay. Up until the very end. And then Genie's there, and It looks like, they have to CG the way he is because he's large and everything else, but I mean, there's no smoke, there's no, you think it would be smoke. I don't understand it. I don't understand the art direction with.
Well, I agree on that, on the particulars of the genie. It's horrifying to look at. It's like Uncanny Valley, like the prime example of that.
It's weird.
Because it's too realistic. It's not realistic enough, I think, in the way that the actual quality of the CG is bad. I think it looks bad. It looks like they
let me get a picture of
filmed Will Smith's face and then threw it on a blue version of The Rock.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And it's weird because it's like, well, we know Will Smith doesn't actually look like that, but it seems like they didn't adjust for that. Like they were just like, no, it's literally just going to be Will Smith's face with no other adjustments, and then they slapped it on it. Like, it's very poorly composited. Like, technically speaking, it just looks absolutely bad. And this is a movie that comes out in, I think, May. So it's really not that far away.
And there's the weird transition between his forehead wrinkles and, the top of his hair.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's just very poorly composited. It's not like... It just looks like they filmed Will Smith in a separate room, just cut part of his face off and threw it on something else. Like it's just weird. Like it technically just does not look good at all. And I think that probably strikes from the core of the design, which is bad because it should be, I think, more fantastical, especially given that we know that he's going to be in basically human form for at least part of this movie. You would think you'd want to make this more otherworldly,
Sure.
And I think if you exaggerated the features of it, kind of closer to what the cartoon look was, then it wouldn't look real, wouldn't look quote unquote real, but it wouldn't look terrifying. It would just be like, oh, CG genie. You look at, there's a lot of times you'll look at, I go back to Thanos because it's probably the most recent example. I look at Thanos and I see a purple CG alien, but I see one that's well animated, well designed. It's not like, I'm not like, oh my God, I don't really see it as this thing like, wow, this looks exactly like the real thing. Because there's no real thing to go back to. This is it looks too close to a real person, but we know that it's not, and so our brain just automatically says fuck this and wants to run away and kill it with fire and drop bombs on it or whatever. That's your brain's reaction, is just oh my God, get it away from me.
I don't know. Maybe they're going in a completely different direction, right? But I mean, he does come out of a bottle. He does come out of a bottle, and does come out and it's like smoke, like. And if it's anything like the cartoon, like the from like his waist down, he's a wispy. He's wispy.
Yeah, and you don't really see that with the way that it's framed. You just get top half like super bulky blue person with Will Smith's face,
right?
And it's just like, no, I'm
that's
good.
another
Thanks,
thing
though.
too. I find
I'm good.
I really just find his character. I find him super. I just find him distracting. Like I know it's just I don't know.
It's the Will Smith factor.
He's just acting like Will Smith.
He just Will Smith.
You never heard of a genie?
I agree with that.
It's I don't know. Totally took me out of the thing.
I agree. I agree with that. And it's nothing against Will Smith, but it's just like Will Smith is Will Smith. It's hard to me. Yeah, it's hard for me to like take Will Smith as like this the genie. Like it's hard to separate those two things. It's
like if you put Tom Cruise in there, I'm just going to see Tom Cruise.
I never bought Will Smith as Deadshot because I was just like, oh, it's just Will Smith. Like he was perfectly charming and perfectly fine in Suicide Squad and what was otherwise a terrible movie. But I never was just like, oh, I'm so fucking super invested in Floyd Lawton because Will Smith has embodied this character so well. Like I never get that. I'm getting that kind of vibe here too. I feel that. I don't want to spend too much more time on it. I actually disagree in one aspect of what you said.
What's that?
I didn't think any of this looked good.
You didn't think? Oh no, I think it looked fine. I thought it was okay. I'm all about it. You got the music coming in.
I actually thought most of it looked
dog
bad.
Shit.
Yeah. The guy they cast as Jafar, which if you didn't realize that is in fact Jafar. With kind of the high-pitched voice telling Aladdin to go into the cave or whatever, and it's just like, this is all bad. It's all bad. I just there's nothing in here for me. I'll go see it. Don't get me wrong.
I'm definitely gonna go see it. It's one of my favorite movies. It's just early on. Maybe there's missing a lot.
I haven't had any issues with any of Disney's like kind of live action adaptations of their animated stuff. I think Cinderella's probably been the best of them to date. But This looks like a misfire. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but
Beauty and the Beast.
The fact that it comes out in May. Oh, I liked Beauty and the Beast, yeah. But the fact that this comes out so soon, we've seen so little of it, and it seems like Disney's hiding a lot of it. Like to me, maybe thinks maybe they know what they have on their hands, and they're just hoping that name recognition will
carry it through,
keep them afloat. Right. So, anyway, that's where I'm at with that.
That's the big blue man in the room.
I'm sure we'll get a full trailer. I mean, within the next month or so, I would think, because at some point you got to start marketing it like legitimately. Like, there's only so much that brand recognition will help you out.
It's a Guy Ritchie movie too, right?
Yeah, which
he did do. Old Guy Ritchie's pretty good.
Yeah, it's been probably a minute since he's done anything that's been actually good, quote unquote good.
Right.
But
well, what do you got for news, man? You got any good news?
I'll save my better news, I think, for last on my end.
Right.
I have some news concerning a World War Z sequel that is apparently no longer happening. So World War Z came out several years ago. It's been probably quite a few years, actually, since it came out with Brad Pitt. Surprisingly solid for what it was. Very little to do with the book, I found. But it was actually it was like a clusterfuck of production, and then it turned out to be kind of its own thing. That wasn't half bad.
Is that the one that was
kind of like
mounds of zombies?
It's kind of like a nice... Yeah.
Okay.
But it was like a nice success story for it or whatever. And then apparently Paramount was like, we're going to make a fucking sequel. And then Paramount's like, we're not going to make a fucking sequel. But the interesting thing about the sequel was that David Fincher, of all fucking people, was going to direct the sequel, who is one of my favorite directors. Personally, Seven, Fight Club, Zodiac, and most recently working on the Mindhunter TV series over at Netflix. They're supposed to start production on this, and basically budget concerns flared up, and then just like, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. So it sounds like they're just straight up
canned it.
Yeah, just canning it. No more. It's not even a case of a director leaving. I mean, like Gambit's had like 19 directors, but it's apparently still happening. It's totally going to happen, by the way. Totally going to happen. Tell that to fucking Disney and Marvel Studios when they get their hands on it. I'm like, Gambit, you're the fucking first one in the bin.
Jeez.
So that's what I have on that front. It would have been I would have been very curious to see what Fincher did with this property. I think David Fincher, zombies, Brad Pitt. I mean, reuniting with Brad Pitt at that,
Yeah, could be good.
So it could have been something, but he's I think he's working on Mindhunter season 2 at the moment, and perhaps he's just he's okay with focusing on that,
which we covered.
I have to be too.
If anybody wants to go back and listen to that,
we did cover it. Good ways back. I think it came out probably 2017, probably late 2017. Mm-hmm. So it was probably one of our first 20-ish episodes, somewhere in that range. So yeah, I'd absolutely check that out. It's worth listening to. Show's worth watching as well. And I think season 2's going to air sometime later this year too. So we'll be looking out for that to see what Mr. Fincher does next. So that's pretty much it on that.
I have a television show.
What other good news do you have? You got a TV show.
I got TV shows. I got 2 TV shows.
Ooh. Tell me about them.
Well, we got an official trailer for What We Do in the Shadows, which is based off of the T.T. Waititi.
T.T. Waititi?
T.T. Waititi property.
Mr. Taika Waititi's.
Yep. This looked pretty good. I tell you, I'm excited to watch it because it's got Matt Berry in it, and I've never watched Toast of London. I've seen clips on the internets, and it looks absolutely hysterical. Toast of London, and I don't know. I think he's a pretty funny guy, and I think he'll probably. It looks like he's doing a good job in this show too. So it looks pretty entertaining. Yeah. If you like the movie, I think you'll probably like the show. It looks like. Yeah,
it looks very similar to the movie. I think for me, there's a little bit of concern of them just trying to I assume this is American production, but trying to Americanize Kiwi humor. I'm right. I don't know that totally translates, but I felt that the trailer was pretty entertaining. As you mentioned, Matt Berry is definitely good casting there, and Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi are both involved in this. So it's not like they're totally prying it out of the hands of the creative people that right. made it so hilarious in the first place. So I think I think it could be pretty cool. Premieres March 27th.
There we go.
On FX. So yeah, looks good. Looks fun. Looking forward to it.
Of FX. Oh. The last season of Legion. They're shutting down Legion after season 3. Or the showrunners want to wrap it up. They I guess they have a very natural way to end the series, which is always very, very appreciated. That's always
and I would say with Legion, I didn't finish season 2. I'm ashamed to admit, although I do believe it's on Hulu now, or at least going to be on Hulu very soon. So if I find time in between some Game of Thrones episodes, maybe I'll try to, because I think I watched probably maybe a quarter of it or so.
Right.
I'd like to go back and finish that up, certainly ahead of season 3's debut. But to me, it strikes me as the kind of show that doesn't need 20 seasons, 10 seasons, even not. 6 seasons even. It's just totally bonkers out there show. And I just don't know how.
I imagine it's very niche.
I don't know how much you could really get out of that show. And I think that's probably the bigger point, is it is a niche show. So niche usually translates to low viewership, which usually translates to cancellation in terms of the TV world. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So and in some ways it's kind of cool that even something like this, 3 seasons, it's not a lot or whatever, but this show was probably a real contender. If this was on a major network, a non-FX, if this was on NBC or Fox, granted it wouldn't be there in the first place.
Right.
But, if it's somehow, fucking Hannibal of all things snuck through on NBC, so sometimes strange things do happen.
That's true.
But if this was on one of those, it would have been canceled halfway through the first season, no doubt in my mind. So the fact that it's getting 3 seasons, I think, is actually very cool.
Right.
And it's good that Noah Hawley is able to sounds like he's bringing it out on his own terms, which is always a good way to end a show, is to you gotta, for a 3-season arc, presumably you got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that's a good way to do things, right? So that's pretty cool. I actually have I don't know if you heard about this. I have some Legion casting news for season 3. Did you hear anything about this?
No, what is it?
Well, I guess somewhat spoilers for Legion, not really. As you may or may not know, David Haller, in the comics, his father is none other than
I did see this. Yes,
Professor Charles Xavier, and Professor X will be making an appearance in season 3, and the role will be filled by Harry Lloyd, who played none other than Viserys Targaryen in season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
so very timely.
Total shithead. Spoiler.
Yeah, absolutely. definitely a shithead, but he played the character well. I think that's probably the only thing I've seen him in, but he definitely nailed the shithead aspect of that character. I will say, but we'll also see David's mother as well, who's going to be played by Stephanie Corneliuson, who plays Joanna Wellick on Mr. Robot. She's the wife of Terrell Wellick.
Okay.
Who's kind of the corporation guy, which I think you said you only watched season 1 of that. So
right.
She was in that for a bit of it. So cool. That gets me excited. He's pretty young, so I'm expecting flashbacks or
yeah.
timey-wimey bullshit or something like that. I don't know exactly.
It's Legion.
Like,
yeah, who knows?
Like whatever, So, but yeah, that's cool. It's good that they're finally doing that, because they definitely hinted at it with the Shadow King and all that.
Right.
So, yeah,
that was
cool.
a really cool
Very
episode
cool.
too, by the way. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Mm-hmm. I have one last bit of news I want to talk about, and it is also concerning it's actually concerning a lot of Marvel television shows, as it turns out. Hulu and Marvel Television. So Netflix was Marvel's best friend, but now Hulu is Marvel's best friend, which makes sense because Disney's about to have a majority stake in it. They are doing a series of adult animated shows. So they're going to have 4 shows in total, plus a team-up special.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, so we got details on all of these. So characters lined up. We have Howard the Duck's getting his own show. This is all animated, mind you. So I think a lot of these characters are very appropriate for the animated medium. So Howard the Duck's the first one. MODOK was a mental organism designed only for killing, getting a fucking TV show to himself. Hit Monkey will be the third, and then Tigra and Dazzler are going to be the last one, and they are going to team up in an animated special called The Offenders, which is pretty great. So just a quick look at each of these. Howard the Duck is going to be written and executive produced by Kevin Smith. Okay. And Dave Willis. I'm not sure what Mr. Willis has done in his past. He might be related to Bruce. I'm not sure. Oh no, it says here. That's handy. So Kevin Smith, obviously, The View, Skew Universe, Clark Smallrats, Jane Silent Bob, all that sort of stuff. He's also a big comic writer. And Dave Willis worked on Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be a good show.
So that's good. That's good. Very good. Howard the Duck will be trapped in a world he never made, but he hopes to return home with the help of his unstoppable gal pal Beverly before the evil Dr. Bong can turn him the crispiest dish on the menu. 100% in on that. No doubt in my mind. Very, very in. MODOK is going to be written and executive produced by Jordan Blum and Patton Oswalt. Jordan Blum's previously worked on Community and American Dad. Patton Oswalt, you might recognize as comedian, been in many things, amongst them Koenig, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that sounds great. Centers around the mental organism designed only for killing, an egomaniacal supervillain with a really big head and a really little body who struggles to maintain control of his evil organization and his demanding family. Great. I mean, these descriptions are enough to sell me, personally. Hit Monkey, coming from Josh Gordon and Will Speck. They worked on films like Blaze of Glory, and Office Christmas Party. Tells the tale of a wronged Japanese snow monkey mentored by the ghost of an American assassin as he cuts a wide swath through the Tokyo underworld. Great.
Sounds pretty cool.
Tigra and Dazzler, from Erica Rivanoha and Chelsea Handler. Rivanoha worked on Girls Trip and shows like South Park, and then Chelsea Handler is known for having her own show, I think.
Right.
Multiple shows, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And it doesn't have a description for Tigra and Dazzler. That's disappointing. It's a little disappointing. I was curious to see what it would say about them, but I'm sure it'll be great. Just like the other ones. So there you have it.
Did you ever finish the Hulu show? The Hulu Marvel?
Runaways?
Yeah.
No, I didn't start it, so I did not finish it.
Okay.
But I know the second season came out, I believe, earlier this year, maybe late last year, like December last year. And I think it sounds like season 3 is going to happen on that as well. And just on the note of Hulu and Marvel having some sort of bromance happening, appropriate for Valentine's Day. There was an interview with I think it was one of the bosses over at Hulu. I'm not sure what his exact position was. I actually don't have this in front of me. I meant to have it, but I'm just going off memory. I'm just saying, fuck it. I'm doing it live, man.
That's it.
They're open to picking up the killed Netflix shows. I don't know the logistics of that. I don't know how that would work legally speaking, in terms of the contracts, in terms of the actors, what have you. But they basically said that, like, yeah, we'd be open to bringing Daredevil back, Luke Cage back. So that would be awesome. If they managed to make that happen. So I wouldn't hold your breath. Anyone listening, I wouldn't hold your breath on it. But like I said, with Disney, once the Fox acquisition goes through, Disney will have a majority ownership in Hulu, and that definitely strongly incentivizes them to put some quality content on there. And if you're trying to frame Disney Plus as more of a kiddie-friendly type thing, or at least less adult than something like Hulu would be, that seems like a smart play to me, I would say.
Right.
So hopefully things work out for the best. Hopefully something like that comes to fruition. I think that would definitely be a dream come true. So that will do it for the news this week. Let's talk about the Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Yeah.
This was directed by Mike Mitchell. I'm not sure if he worked on the first one. So I know, so let me say this. It was written by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who worked on Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, but they also wrote and directed the first Lego Movie, so there's continuity on that. And just doing a quick little look. Doesn't seem like Mike Mitchell worked on the first one in any capacity that I can tell. So he's a newcomer, but it's definitely very consistent with the first one. Let's put it that way. Ridiculous voice cast. I mean, tons of cameos and stuff too. A lot of fun cameos too. So I won't talk about those too much. But of the main cast, the cast we can hear in the trailers and whatnot: Chris Pratt, Elizabeth Banks, Will Arnett, Tiffany Haddish, Stephanie Beatrice, Charlie Day, Allison Brie, and Nick Offerman, and many, many more. So it's been 5 years since everything was awesome, and the citizens of Bricksburg are now facing a huge threat. Lego Duplo invaders from outer space that are capable of wrecking the city faster than it can be rebuilt. And as you can see in the trailer, I don't think this is really much of a spoiler, maybe the Lego Duplo invaders have some success and turn it into an apocalypse type world. Box office, I would rate this a disappointment overall, unfortunately. I would say $34 million opening weekend, which in a bubble isn't horrible, I guess. And I don't know what the budget on this thing was. Probably not insane. Looks like $100 million budget. So it's not crazy on that front, but compare it to 2014 when the first Lego Movie comes out and it debuts at $69 million. That's a pretty sharp decline. It's over 50% decline. So I would think that if you're a WB, that's got to be a disappointing result. I would speculate personally that it didn't seem like the marketing did a great job of getting people to realize that it was even out. That's usually a problem. But for me, it's one of those things where I loved the first Lego Movie. And then they did the Lego Batman movie, and they did the Lego Ninjago movie, and then this kind of came out after that. I feel like it kind of lost a little bit of the luster because they did those other two ones. And I liked Lego Batman movie, not nearly as much as I liked the Lego movie, but I didn't even see Lego Ninjago movie. I'm just like, whatever. I like the characters in this one.
Lego Ninjago.
Right. Like I said, I think it's been kind of diminishing returns. Like the first one, really, really kind of, was this big success story, and then it was just kind of like, okay, Lego movie, cool. That, and I think it's actually, like I said, I think that's unfortunate because this one is a direct sequel to that first one, and maybe it lives up to it. I don't know. So that's more or less it for box office. $57 million worldwide. Not sure where it's opened territorially speaking. So it's at $100 million budget. So it's got a long way to climb if we want to sniff a Lego Movie 3, I should say. Lego Movie 3, the last part, because if it gets another one, it's got to be the last one. But that's pretty much it. So I kind of danced around a little bit. Well, let me ask you this before we get going too much in earnest on this. Did you like the first one when it came out back in 2014?
Well, I didn't see it when it first came out. I saw it on, I think I saw it on your recommendation. I picked it up. It's been a little while now, but I picked it up when I watched it, and yeah, it was outstanding. So it's great. It's a great movie. Really enjoyed it. And I
you get a chance to rewatch it?
No,
by any chance?
I did not rewatch it. You rewatch it?
I did. Yeah, I did. So I think what I did was I did a Friday night Lego Movie 1 at home, and then Saturday night I saw Lego Movie 2.
Right.
And then Tuesday afternoon I saw Lego Movie 2 a second time.
Very nice. Seen it twice.
So, do you want my hot take? You want me to put my hot take on the record real quick
put it
for
on
you?
the internet's receipts.
I think this is the best movie of 2019.
So far, this is the best movie you've seen so far.
Yes. Now, yes. Granted, I think the only other movie I've seen is Glass.
The bar's set pretty short.
and this is definitely a vastly superior movie to Glass. But no, seriously, I loved this movie. I thought it was so much fun. Enough that I saw it twice in the span of less than a week. So I feel like that probably tells you a little bit of something. It's not like I fell asleep watching it the first time and had to do it out of compulsion or whatever. Like no, I was just like, I want to see it again, and I carved out time for it, and that's what I did. So how did you like it? You saw it a couple days ago, yeah?
Yeah. I was gonna go see it on IMAX, and surprisingly, when was I gonna go see it the first time? Tuesday.
I think he planned on Monday, and then he had homeowners association meeting that got in your way very rudely. So then Tuesday you were trying to do IMAX, and work ran late, something like that.
Yeah, I ended up working late, so I had to cancel the tickets there. No, I saw it after I worked late. I couldn't see it on IMAX, though.
Right, yeah. That's what I mean. You had to cancel the IMAX.
And so I saw it in regular theater, and when I bought the tickets for the IMAX one, there was nobody in there. I was going to go. It looked like I was going to go see it by myself. I was like, oh, shit, nobody's there. Because it only came out the weekend before, right?
Yeah, no, it's been out less than a week, but as of recording this, so.
Yeah, and there was no other seats in the IMAX theater. And I was kind of stoked about it because I was having a long day at work, and I was going to go to Long Island, sit by myself in the fucking IMAX theater and watch Lego Movie. It sounds pretty awesome, right? So anyways, I couldn't go see it, and I went and saw it at a standard theater.
Saw it with the peasants.
And there were some very rude, disrespectful kids, and they were literally running through the aisles behind me. And there was one little shit. He put his feet on the back of the chair, couple chairs down from me, and he was just kicking the shit out of the chair. And that's like, oh, fuck you, kid. Fuck you. I will fuck you up. Eventually he fell asleep. So anyways, a bunch of little shits in the theater. I don't know what they were doing seeing a movie. The movie didn't get out until like 11 o'clock on a school night, so I don't know. I digress. Anyways, the viewing.
You want a hint? It's not the kid's fault.
What is it?
Well, who do you think took him there?
No, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shits.
Just put it out there.
You shits. Anyways, yeah, it was not the people I went to. There was one guy he was an adult guy in the back, and his laugh was awesome. And he did it frequently, and there weren't a lot of people in the theater. I don't think the movie was particularly loud, so every time he would laugh, it was just this boisterous laugh filled the theater. And that made me laugh in and of itself. So I ended up doing okay, but
it was kind of a balancing act.
Exactly. I really enjoyed the movie, man. Like I said, I had a real long day at work. Didn't get out until like 7:30 at work and stuff, and I was pretty miserable when walking into the theater. And when I left, I was in a really good mood.
We call that the Ace Ventura effect.
Yeah. I think that happened when I watched Ace Ventura too, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of a very similar story.
Yeah. Anyway, so, it was, the music was great. It's catchy. And, I think it was really cleverly written too, the songs. I really enjoyed the songs. I think the cameos might be my favorite, and just like the little pop culture innuendos and, the little, I don't know, just little things that pop up throughout the movie. It's just really cleverly written. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller seem like very intelligent folks.
Which this isn't related to the Lego Movie at all, but I just gotta wonder what the fuck was happening on that solo set for these guys to walk, get fired or whatever. Because like everything else they've done, as far as I'm concerned, has been gold. So like there was clearly some competing visions or something. I don't know. Anyway, they definitely. As far as I'm concerned, they have their shit together. Yeah, certainly in the animated realm between Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Even
now the Lego movies.
21st Jump Street or whatever was pretty funny movie.
Yeah, like Jump Streets are great. I mean, obviously, like the common ground between all of those movies is they're all basically comedies, more or less. Whereas Solo, not really.
It could have definitely been a comedy,
that was probably the issue, I guess. But it could have been. Yeah, absolutely. But
anyways,
clearly Lucasfilm didn't want it to be. Let's put it that way. But yes. Anyway, Lego Movie. So you had a good time. Cameos you enjoyed. I agree. I mean, all the cameos are super fun. It's great fun to. Well, I mean, basically WB has this whole slew of kind of properties at their disposal that they can kind of dip into there and get weird with it. And I think that's kind of the fun of this particular version of the Lego Movie is due to the framing devices kind of throughout the movie, and that was kind of a carry through from the first one, where it's kind of this imagined fictional world of kids,
right.
And it's, of course, if you're a kid, you just got all these sets, like you don't put yourself in like the Lego Batman box, like I'm only going to use DC related characters right now. You're like, no, I've got this construction man, and I'm gonna name him Emmett. I'm gonna make him the main character of my fucking story. Like that's the fun of this, is you've just got this super weird combination and like just these kind of goofy interpretations of like the recognizable characters are kind of like their own little spin on things. And I think that the way that they kind of combine all of these different worlds in this just super hilarious manner is great.
Mm-hmm.
Cast top notch, as always. I mean, all these guys are great. Chris Pratt pulling double duty here with Rex Dangervest, who I think was a fine addition to the cast.
Absolutely.
But everyone else is just great fun. We're actually, on that note, all of the new additions I thought were pretty great. Tiffany Haddish was Queen whatever wannabe. Queen whatever wannabe. That's something.
Right.
I think it's supposed to sound like something. Stephanie Beatriz as General Mayhem was good. So I liked the cast top to bottom. But I think the biggest thing for me, and probably my biggest question mark, biggest concern walking in the door, was how do you follow up the ending of the first Lego Movie in a satisfying manner? Like I said, I guess spoilers for the first one, not for the second one. The first one ends with, basically the revelation that, as I talked about, it's Finn. He's this little boy who wants to play with his dad's toys. His dad's Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell's, he's trying to glue everything in place. He has these aren't toys. You're not supposed to play with them. And, he's just a kid. And he's just like, they're fucking Legos. Like, they are toys. You know what I mean? And so but it was like a really, really heartfelt moment at the end of the first one. And like a total surprise. I mean, there's like kind of hints at like the man upstairs, and, you kind of see like a hand type thing reaching out a few points here and there. But, it wasn't so obvious exactly what was happening, so that when it did happen, it was just kind of like this like really, really great emotional beat. And it was kind of the case of like, well, this movie could totally stand on its own, didn't ask for a sequel, didn't need a sequel.
Right.
I wasn't opposed to having a sequel, mind you, but it was just kind of like, all right, you gotta, I think you're kind of almost walking a tightrope with like how you approach that, because you can ignore it entirely, kind of the way like Lego Batman movie did, and I think you're worser for it.
They did it in a very organic way, though.
Right. But if you do grapple with it again, it's just like, well, how do you do it without making it feel samey? Right. And they totally nailed it. They really managed to pull that balance off. So I was very relieved in that respect, I would say.
I think it was. I did not feel the feels like I felt in. I think there was a. I felt more in the first one. This one felt more just like a very. I just had a lot of fun with this one. You know what I mean? Whereas the other one, I felt like there was. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's stuff to be taken away from it, and I think it's a very clear moral to the story of this movie. You know, but I think I don't know. I just really felt I had more attachment, more sentiments to the first movie, I think.
I agree with that. I think I like the first one better overall. Mm-hmm. But I think that this doesn't really feel like much of a step down. I think it's very close, I would say, to the first one. I agree. I see what you're saying. I agree with you, and I think part of the reason I think maybe the first one hit me with the feels more so was because I didn't expect it to go that way and go in that direction, whereas this one, I said, it was kind of like, I could really fuck this up if they don't do it right.
Right.
Like I said, so I definitely think they did it right, but I would agree that maybe it didn't have as much resonance. Maybe because I expected it, or maybe just because it wasn't as good. I don't know. In that particular respect.
Right. Not to say that it's lacking in any form or fashion, because I don't think it is. It's just
I think if I had one major complaint I would lodge is that I think the pacing's a little wonky here. I found the first probably 20 to 30 minutes slow moving and kind of not as engaging as anything in the first movie, and certainly not anything in the last hour of the movie, last hour plus.
Right.
So I kind of found it slow moving, where I was just kind of like, some of these jokes aren't really landing all that well, and like, it's fun to be, back in the saddle with Emmett and Lucy and Batman and the crew and all, but it was just kind of like, okay, what's happening here? Like, what's the crux of this movie going to be?
Right.
And I think once it kind of shifted gears and got into the Queen whatever wannabe storyline, and like once it picked up, it really picked up in a big bad way, and
right.
I found the back half of this movie immensely satisfying. I thought it was great fun. It's great fun from all standpoints, I think. But I also thought that visually it was really, I talked about kind of like, I'd be interested to see how this was made, but like it looks fucking amazing, and just sometimes it kind of, the way it shifts between like just the pure Lego world and the real world, like it's all exceptionally well done, I thought, in terms of like the technicality of it. So
the spaceship moving,
right, yeah, little things like that. There was like little stuff like that in the first one. I'm glad that there was, they continued that thread. I think that was definitely the right move to make.
Yeah.
But I think there's, I don't really have too much else on non-spoiler front. If you want to move to recommendation,
yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, so recommendation wise, I mean, I think that for me, this is a great kids and adults movie. Now, on the note of little shithead kids trying to ruin theater experiences, I did have some very annoying children in my second viewing.
I kept telling myself it's a kids movie. They're here watching Lego movie. I'm here watching Lego movie.
And so I have a greater point, but you did remind me. But it was just so bizarre because it's just kids running around. It's just a fucking madhouse, and it's just like, what?
You paid money to sit here and watch this movie.
Like, I think I've seen, like, they didn't have it for this one, but like sometimes they have like the sing along type like screenings and stuff like that. I know like Moana and stuff had it, where you like, you could like go to this literal special screening where it's designed to be a sing along with like the words on screen. I'm like, that's the time to be a loud, annoying, kid and like sing along with the movie. Like, I just think like, in like a regular theater environment, I had to like look at like, did I book like the fucking fucked up show? Is like, bring all your kids and have them run around. Like, nope, doesn't say that on the ticket. I think you got to have some sort of semblance of respect for the system. Personally, I mean, I said I get it. I'm not blaming kids per se, because kids are going to be kids unless their parents tell them to get their shit under control.
It actually raised the question. I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but with all these movie passes and stuff, does it? And this is what I was literally like. It was. I was brooding along with the main character there when she was brooding, because I had these
staring off into the distance.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there, a bad day at work, and these little shits running around, and it was. I was a little frustrated there in the beginning, and I started thinking about these movie passes. Do these movie passes devalue the theater experience in a way to where, hey, listen, the kid, you guys want to go to the movie theater? I can get you all in for free because the movie pass, blah 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 blah. You got your 3 movie tickets. Go to the movie theater, have a good time. Boom, boom, boom. Drop all the kids off.
Well, I think.
Is that a movie pass per kid?
Yeah, it's not only that, but I'm thinking you have to actually be a minimum age to even have the pass in the first place.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that really is like the audience that it's really designed to benefit. I see what you're saying, but I'm not sure if logistically that adds up.
Okay, yeah, no, but that was my train of thought. That
but
was
like
what I was thinking of.
like child tickets are cheaper for sure, and I think under a certain age bracket you can just bring them in. But usually that's like infants, like
right,
which.
You shouldn't bring those into the
There's a
movie
reason.
theater.
Maybe they should charge for them so they could dissuade people from bringing their infants into the dark theater that's going to have loud noises for 2 hours and scare the shit out of their kids. But what are you going to do? So, yeah, like I said, I see what you're saying, but I'm not sure that that's entirely accurate.
Okay, fair enough.
But to kind of
bring it back,
finish my thought, yeah. Like I said, I had some annoying kids. Fortunately, they weren't like, I didn't have like someone kicking my seat two seats down or anything like that. That would have pissed me off for sure. It was mostly just it was people in the front row, like literally the front row of not a sold out theater. It was like a Tuesday afternoon type thing. It was just weird. Like they intentionally booked these seats in the front corner. And then just their kids just ran around the whole time. I'm like, what?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I was just like, okay. I was more perplexed than, like, it was my second time seeing it. I had a good experience the first time around, thankfully, but it was just kind of just like what an incredibly odd thing to do.
There were these people sitting, like,
okay.
I sat in the middle, and then 2 rows behind me, there was this girl, and she was sitting next to the dude kicking the shit out of the seat, and she would get up, and she would go down my right side, okay, and then she would sprint in front of me, and like during in that walkway, she'd just she'd sprint, and then she'd run down the stairs and she'd run outside. I'm like, okay, she'd fucking pee or something. I don't know. All right, and then she'd run up the stairs and run behind me, and I could hear her footsteps all the way down, and she plopped down on the seat. Not 5 minutes later, she gets up and just does it again. I swear to God, she was running a circuit for the first half hour of the movie. Now, maybe there's a reason. I don't want to judge, but it did start to irritate me a little bit, along with the kid just kicking the seat, and it was it was a rough experience until everybody passed out. They all went to sleep. So
humans are endlessly fascinating, aren't they?
What's going on?
So I was actually trying to build to this point of this is a movie that's good for kids and adults, presuming that the kids are actually sitting in their seats and watching the fucking thing, which obviously is easier said than done. But I think that, the spectacle of it, the fun of it, like that's going to totally capture kids. But I think there's enough, there's jokes here and there. I think that like the adults are going to get cameos that like kids are going to be like, I don't know what's happening here. Like it's obviously written by adults,
right.
But I think it successfully navigates trying to cater to both audiences. So I would say recommendation wise, it's absolutely a theater recommendation from me. Like I said, bring your kids, have a good time, make sure they don't run circuits and whatever. But if they are, make sure you buy the special ticket for the circuit version of the auditorium.
That's it.
So that's
sit in the front row. You can run around on the ground.
That's where I stand. See it in theaters. How do you feel?
I completely agree. I thought it was a very fun movie to watch. I had a real good time with it. Thought it was very funny. I thought the story was well written. I think it's a smart movie, which is it's very self-aware, and it's a very enjoyable movie to watch. I think for adults and the kids and family experience, seems like it'd be a good family movie to go watch. Something there for everybody, and that's always appreciated. You're not strictly going to watch a kid movie, So, definitely go see it in theaters if you can. A lot of fun. A lot of funnies.
A lot of funnies. I agree. Very funny. I think we said that, right? I think we said it was fun. I don't know if we said it was a comedy. Yes, it's very funny. If we didn't say that already, let's put it that way. Let's do some spoilers for this. So, full spoilers for the Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Yes.
I actually want to pick up on something you just said. You said it's a smart movie.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Did it outsmart you? Were you surprised by plot revelations, or did you see things kind of as they were developing where you're like, oh, I think it's going this way, and then it went that way, or like, oh no, that went in a different direction than I was anticipating? I'm curious.
I picked up on the plot beat as far as Rex.
Okay.
I picked up on him being the same person. The moment the whole thing that you need to grow up and be brooding was established in the very beginning. And then you meet him, and you could just, I don't know, you can just tell that he's like an extension of the same character. So when
he's literally voiced by Chris Pratt, I think that might be a big tip-off,
that's another thing, too. It is. But when you pick up on just the ridiculous behavior, just the ridiculousness of...
He's so over the top.
Right.
Like, obviously everything in this universe, this Lego universe, is over the top, but it's like, it's to the nth degree with him particularly. And you pair him with like the most basic fucking character in the world, intentionally basic character in the world, and I think it highlights it even more so. And
you can, I thought it was very valid for him to be like a figment, that I thought that's what he could be imagining it, but that's not what it was. And then I guess I didn't see the future coming back to the future because it still's kind of weird. But so I didn't see the future thing coming, but I did pick up on them being the same. I thought maybe it was like a fight club kind of deal. But
okay, well, that's interesting because I asked you because there were certain things in this I predicted, even if I didn't quite understand how it was going to play out. And one of the things I was like, well, Rex is obviously the bad guy. I kind of got, I've kind of pegged that from the beginning. Just seemed like that was the way it was kind of structured as, kind of like you said, you like,
right.
You have to be this tough version of this character. And I'm like, yeah, it feels like that. And it feels like that's going to be something like Lucy's going to be like, you know what, actually, never mind. And I kind of figured it would build to that. And I felt like Rex would be a good way of kind of doing that. So I kind of saw that. And I actually anticipated him being weirdly enough, I anticipated him being a future version of Emmett. But I had no idea how the logistics of that were going to play out. But the thing is, it didn't even occur to me that he would be the figment of his imagination until they literally brought it up in the film, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that would have been kind of fun too." I didn't even consider that aspect. Like I said, I didn't know anything about the time traveling ship, but I just kind of had this inkling of an idea. I was like, "Oh, I could." I think I might know what's going here. So I'm somewhat patting myself on the back, but I will say that kind of the whole. Like, I knew that like I said, I pegged Rex for the bad guy, but I didn't quite peg what the Queen's motives were, exactly how that was going to play out. Because
I didn't see that at all. I didn't see
that. Right. That to me was kind of surprised. Where it was a genuine like peace attempt from her, and the totally not evil song was like. Totally just like that. We're like, wait, that was actually a song. Like you're horrible with communication. I'm like, yeah, we know we're working on it. Like I was like that was actually a really clever, smartly written twist. So my point is that I agree with you your assessment of this movie as a smartly written thing, because there was things that I was like, even if I saw it, going one way, I didn't quite understand it fully, and then there was things that I was just like, oh no, I didn't see that at all. I didn't see the Bruce Willis cameo happening. That was damn good.
That was hilarious.
A couple times.
Of all the fucking things to get.
Yeah.
You pick up on Bruce Willis. I thought that was great. He's in the fucking vent.
I don't live in this air duct. I'm just and I think the great thing was they actually got Bruce Willis to fucking voice that 2 lines in the movie. So let's talk cameos very briefly. So we got the Justice League. Some of them were returning from the first one. So like Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill were Superman and Lantern. That was the same. Kobe Smulders came back as Wonder Woman. I think there was a thing where Gal Gadot was supposed to, voice her, but then I guess she ended up being busy, so I ended up bringing Kobe Smulders back. Momoa comes in as the Aquaman. My man! And like literally the first thing he says is, he just wanders on the screen, my man! Like I was just like, oh man, I'm so in.
I lost my shit.
That was into the first 5 minutes, I think. Like, because that was like when the Justice League go off on their mission, I'm like, I'm fucking sold. They know it. And Momoa was clearly reveling in it, so... Yes, much respect for that. That was great. That was very, very good. Lincoln came back, I think, from the first one. There was a couple Balthazar was kind of like this Twilight Edward Cullen-esque type vampire character, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, he was hilarious. It was good.
Larry Poppins was in it.
That was really funny.
Another fun fact, apparently it was originally supposed to be Larry Potter, as in Harry Potter, but the filmmakers kind of backed down to like, we don't want to piss off the Harry Potter fan base that much. so I guess they kind of shied away from it. But I guess the Mary Poppins fan base isn't as big, so they felt okay with it. I thought it was funny. Cheryl Swoops, WNBA legend.
I laughed my ass off with that too. That was good.
It's just so over the top. Like it's fun. It's great fun to have them all in there.
There was one that happened. There was something that happened in the latter portion of the movie. I can't remember what it was, but it made me fucking laugh real good. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. We can keep talking about the movie. Maybe it'll come to my head.
Yeah, well, I can say one of the funniest things was actually, so at the end, we're just jumping around at this point. At the end, our Armageddon happens, and, Maya Rudolph plays the mother in this, kind of the Will Ferrell adjacent type role in this movie. Maybe movie one was about dad, movie two is about mom, which I like that a lot. And then obviously there's a big brother-sister aspect to it, which we can touch on too. But she comes up in the room and she's about to unleash Armageddon. She steps on the bricks a couple times, and she's like up there with childbirth. I was like, that was a great joke. And that's like, if you're like 5 and you're watching that, you're not going to like think about like, how do they come into this world? How painful is childbirth? But if you're you're adult watching it, and you're be like, I don't know how fucking painful childbirth is. Don't get me wrong, but
you've stepped on Legos.
But I've stepped on Legos, and so the jokes still work because you can at least understand one parts of those. So
right.
So that was something that made me. There's tons of stuff in this that made me laugh out loud. I was having a bloody good time, mate. But I really enjoyed. I enjoyed most of it. I said I expressed my gripes with kind of the pacing at the beginning. Like, I loved the whole Mad Max type setting. I thought that was fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. I just kind of said it was just a lot of. All right, where are we going? It
overstayed its welcome a little bit. That's all.
I think so. I think that was really what it was. It was just kind of like, okay, we need to build to something here, just in terms of pacing. So like the setting was great. Emmett's good fun. Lucy brooding.
The Raptors playing the maracas.
The Raptors in general were fucking great. I must say, there's a lot of like little Raptor subtitle dialogue that was pretty fantastic.
It's good.
I said it was. He just travels back in time and then he throws the tennis ball like tennis. Batman, I love tennis.
Batman getting the fucking massage. I did lose my shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I said something. He carries something in his glutes. I got carry all my dark brooding in my glutes. Something like, I don't know what the exact dialogue is, but it's just fucking funny.
Oh, I can't remember exactly what it says, but yeah, it's tight. It's all stored in his glutes.
We could watch this a few times, revisit it in a few years, and have an Ace Ventura type episode of just us quoting things. I think we could totally do that. It's funny. Like, it definitely feels like a very quotable movie,
for sure.
But it helps to have seen it multiple times, so you can actually remember the quotes. That's probably a good starting point. Yeah. So. Yeah, again, just kind of jumping around a little bit more.
What song? What song's your favorite?
What song's my favorite? Okay, so let me make a general statement that the soundtrack in here is fucking phenomenal.
Right?
It's great. I think it's tough for me, man. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff. I think my favorite is probably Catchy Song. This song's gonna get stuck inside you. This song's gonna get stuck inside you. It's the one.
That's the one where they're trying to brainwash her.
Yeah, okay. Quote unquote brainwash. Right.
Right.
So I mean, God, it was stuck in my head as I left the theater both times. So I was like, no, they're not wrong. There's good ones here, man. Like Gotham City Guys is great. We get
Gotham City Guys. I think is probably my favorite.
Is that your favorite? Yeah, the Batman verse in that is fucking amazing.
The Val Kilmer lip and just all the Batman references and stuff.
Yes. The Val Kilmer lips was great. But I felt like, I think in terms of like the most heartfelt, like everything's not awesome, I thought was like a really, really great moment in the film, like the end fake out and everything. And I think that's kind of where the emotionality of the movie kind of kicked in for me overall. Music aside, like that was kind of just like, like, hey, everything's not awesome, but it's not realistic expectations, so like it was just kind of like this moment, like everyone's down. It's just like, okay, well, sometimes things are shitty, but doesn't mean everything has to be, so I thought it was like a really, really great moment in the way that kind of built to this uplifting kind of ending with the brother and sisters reconciliation. I thought that was really great. I thought that was all fantastic, and as we've said, maybe
that hit me in the feels the most was when the little boy finds out that or maybe it was just like maybe not just the, like when they rebuild the heart, you can find out that they just wanted to get along. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was really sweet.
Yeah,
I really liked that.
Yeah, and so like I we kind of talked about it a little bit. Like it wasn't like a tearjerker type thing, but it was just it was like fills your heart kind of
it was
very
sweet.
very
It was a
sweet
thing.
moment. Yeah, exactly, and it felt genuine too. It didn't feel like a saccharine moment. Like it was like, oh, this is cheesy or this is corny or whatever. Like no, I felt like it was coming from a very real place, and I was like, it's a really kind of sweet message, I think, to kind of impart your viewers with towards the end. So I really liked that. I really liked that.
And don't fucking grow up too fast.
Right.
Everyone wants to fucking grow up so fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone
So
wants to get tough. Fucking tough.
I actually. So, did you? I meant to talk about this in the non-spoiler section to tell people to make sure they stick around for the credits. Did you stick around for the entire kind of, not the entire thing, but like the whole animated part of the credits?
Yeah, the animated song. I listened to that song.
Yeah, that song is fucking amazing.
Was there anything
No,
beyond the song?
there's not. No. But like just the actual lyrics of that are fucking
the song
hilarious.
and the sequence is really cool too.
Yeah, and
But
the way it's
song's
animated is
pretty
great.
funny.
This is Beck, Robin, and the Lonely Island, and the Lonely Island coming in and just talking about how the credits are the best part of the movie. Like, just skip the first 90 minutes, and there's actually parts of it interspersed in, like, I've listened to it on Spotify a little bit, and they kind of take these parts out, but in the movie itself, they're, like, literally, like, this guy is the fucking stereoscopic supervisor, and, like, they're, like, singing about it as, like, it's playing out on the screen. I'm like, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible.
Really good.
Yeah,
self-aware, man. It's all self-aware. It's really
good fun, and it's a fucking catchy ass song too. It's called "Super Cool." So I thought the credits were ton of fun. Some of the most fun credits I've seen in ever. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, they're really good credits.
I will say, as an aside, I enjoy this. I enjoy the art of like fucking crafting end credits, like.
Yeah,
because like like most Marvel movies will do it, where like the whole end credit sequence is kind of
like
this whole elaborate thing
and stuff. Yeah,
and obviously in a Marvel movie you're like, well, I gotta stick around to the end or whatever. But like I appreciate like having these really cool things of art. Like Spider-Man: Homecoming isn't one recently that I thought was fantastic.
Black Panther had a really good one.
Black Panther's was astonishing. Yeah, I agree. And of course, it helps when you have great music set atop it. So of course, All the Stars is kind of like cheating for Black Panther, and this one's kind of the same way, where it's just like badass song, but it's something if like even if you're not familiar with the song, like if you're just like 100% engaged right away, like Black Panther was like cheating because like I've listened to the soundtrack like 800,000 times before I've even seen the fucking movie, So that was a little bit of a different story, but like this one is just like, oh, this is the first time I've ever heard this song, but I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
No,
so
it is, and that's it's a really cool thing when you can match like the mood of the movie you went and watched, like when it melds like that. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's real cool. And that sequence had me questioning what was authentically happening and what wasn't, because I thought it was just the way it was constructed. It's like you get micro views of the Legos and the wheels spinning and stuff, and zooming in and out, and it looks, a lot of the stuff in that sequence looks very real. A lot of the Legos look very real, I think.
Yeah, they very well
obviously
may have been.
you can't have like a 15-minute fucking, or you can't have a 6-minute wheel of turning things. Maybe you have multiple wheels with those things on there. Maybe, I don't know. But it was really cool. Spaceships.
We didn't talk about Benny. I felt like Benny had a little bit more to do in the first one. But I enjoyed that they brought back a lot of the principal cast. Emmett's cool and all, but like Lucy's fucking great. There's the pretty great kind of joke about like, hey, aren't you kind of the one that did everything in the first one, and he's just the asshole, but he's He didn't do shit, but he's the main character because he's a guy. Right. Like that's clever. Like, and a 5-year-old's gonna listen to that and like, that's probably still funny, but like, they're not getting what the subtext of that is. It's not really subtext. It's
pretty blatant.
Just the text.
That's it.
You know, but no, it's absolutely smartly written. I'm stealing your phrase because I think it's extremely apt.
And I think that's the hallmark of this movie. I think it's incredibly well written. It's very smart and it's funny.
And I think that's a lesson for like kids movies. There's plenty of kids movies that like are definitely in the same boat where like adults are going to be engaged all the way through. But I think there's just as many where it's just like, we're writing this for 5-year-olds and 5-year-olds only, motherfucker. And it's just like,
that's it.
I feel like that's a harmful thing to do because, I mean, that to me is a one-way ticket to the parent taking a nap, and then the kids are just, they're not the ones taking the nap anymore. They're taking over the fucking theater and,
right.
They're multiple circuits. They're going to be racing each other. It's just going to be absolute madness. But, yeah, so this is definitely, I said it's unfortunate that it's not doing as well as I think it ought to be doing. I'm surprised that this isn't really capturing, especially given, like, there's not really been a lot of animated movies like super recently, have there? It's not like there's any real kids movies out there right now that like is obviously like stealing the market. Like it's February, and that's usually kind of your deader period of times. I think Lego Movie was the first one was kind of the exception, where it was just like it came out in February and it kind of caught people off guard because it's just like, oh, this is where you dump movies. This is where you send movies to die.
Right.
I guess I'm forgetting about the obvious Black Panther being the exception of just like, that, but Black Panther's is an even better example. Made, what, is it 200 million, something like that, opening weekend?
Yeah.
That shattered all expectations of like, yes, like movies, if there's a market for it, can do well any time of the year. So it's like the whole traditional mold of February has been broken. And it's just surprising that this wasn't closer. I mean, I don't know that it, I don't know, it's making half as much as the first one. That seems crazy to me. Might struggle to crack $100 million
like you
domestically.
said, though, I think maybe they overdone the Lego movie thing.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Absolutely,
less adequate movies,
and I think maybe it was just a marketing thing, like reviewing. It's reviewing maybe not exceptionally as well as the first one, but like the first one was like super high bar. I mean, it was like high 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think.
Right.
Yeah, this one's like in the 80%. I don't know what the average rating is, but it's pretty good.
Still
I think
strong.
it's been very positive across the board. It's just surprising that for whatever reason this one just isn't capturing the imaginations. Maybe it's almost too far apart in time. 5 years. Obviously,
they can still play with Legos. I think it's marketing,
right? But I just wonder if it, in a weird sort of way, the kids that loved the first one are now too old to think that this movie's cool anymore. Something like that, like some sort of parallel to what the actual kind of story is, and the movie itself. But then again, there's fucking tons of kids that are now the age where they could watch this. There's, maybe in a way that the first movie wasn't. Maybe this one might be more friendly towards girls in terms of the subject matter, which, obviously that's not always true, but in terms of parents thinking like, oh, my daughter might like this, whereas maybe 5 years ago they've been like, she's not going to like this. Like that, I think that could be a real thing, So I don't know. I'm just trying to kind of think of things of why this isn't doing as well. And I don't know. I'm sure there's many reasons. I don't think there's one. I don't think you can boil it down to one simple kind of, if they did this, it would have been great.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot, like you said, a lot is part of it. I mean, a lot, I don't know that I knew that it was going to come out until you said we were going to go watch it this week.
Well, yeah, you took your sweet ass time fucking seeing it. So maybe. So obviously like it wasn't like I have to see this right now.
Not in the forefront of your thoughts.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, and I imagine that was probably a pretty common sentiment, for people that don't have a podcast to record on,
Yeah, it's
they're
even
like,
worse for them, right?
I don't have any incentive. I'll watch it on Netflix, and in a year or so. Like that's probably a very real kind of mentality. So, if there's one thing that we can say, if you happen to be listening to this and you're a fence sitter, but you've listened to our whole coverage, go see this. Go see it in theaters.
It's really good.
It's really good. I don't really have much else to add. I'm sure I forgot a few things here and there, but I'm just doing it off the cuff, man.
That's it.
And that's what I have.
It, man. Yeah.
So, Yeah. I know you've been getting a little cray-cray at some birthday parties, but you've been up to anything fun recently besides that, besides Game of Thrones?
Yes, I went and painted a picture.
Oh.
The painting with the twist. And that was a lot of fun. I painted a good picture. I definitely intend to go and paint real pictures again. I really, 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 really enjoyed painting. Really, really did.
You know what you need to do is get a Bob Ross art kit.
Do they make a Bob Ross art kit?
I'm sure they do. There's got to be something. If nothing else, just find your own supplies. And
I can get my own
some
supplies
Bob Ross
and just paint along with Bob Ross. Yeah, I totally would do that. I would totally do that. I just don't know. I don't know what I think paints are kind of expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably
paints.
True.
You got brushes. You got canvases.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I think at this stage, at where I'm at with the painting, because I've only painted twice, and I've only painted like one legitimate, like kind of like picture. I think going to pay $30 and drinking a couple beers, listening to some music, and painting along with a teacher, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal. So I think I'm going to rock that out for a little while, as long as I can consistently find people to go with, because I'm not comfortable enough to just do it by myself.
Yeah. When you go, do you beat the devil out of the little brush?
No.
Just kind of
it's like in a cup. It's in a plastic cup. They put your brushes in a little cup. So
the setup is not optimal.
I can do it.
God, love Bob Ross. Side note, Bob Ross YouTube. I'm sure there's a million on there. Go watch Bob Ross. Do yourself a favor. It's like the most relaxing thing to watch.
Go watch Bob Ross. Want to relax? Watch Bob Ross. Need to meditate on thought? Watch Bob Ross.
Seriously.
Bob Ross is an amazing man. He's, I think, Mr. Rogers level of tier of excellence. I've also I've been trying to play some video games here lately. I got a friend who had a little spawn of himself with the help of a lady, and they sometimes he puts the baby to sleep and would like to relax and play video games sometimes. So I've been trying to play online video games with him, and we've been playing a game called Rainbow Six Siege, which is pretty fun. You heard of that, Colton?
Yeah, I've never played it, but yes, I have heard of it.
It's pretty good. Maybe you get in on it, play with us. Pretty good game. It is counterintuitive with our massive Game of Thrones thing, so I've been trying to balance that a little bit. But I think I'm doing a healthy job. I also downloaded another game, but I don't have anybody to play with. Called it's setting the internet on fire. It's some sort of battle royale game. I think it's
is it Apex?
Apex Legends. That's
Legends.
It.
Yeah. The type.
I downloaded it and played like I don't know, like an hour of it, and I suck. But it did seem like it had the capacity to be a pretty fun game. So I can see where people are into it. As far as watching new things, though, we did the Ace Ventura, watched that stuff. I talked about The Kingdom last time, I believe, right? The Korean zombie one?
Yes. Yeah, you did.
I think that's all I really watched. I can't think of anything else.
It's hard to find time to say that. That's probably going to be a common theme for the next few months. Is like, we're watching Game of Thrones, so go listen to our episodes on that. Yeah.
What about you, man? What you been up to?
Well, as you might expect, I haven't done much outside of Game of Thrones and the like. Played a little bit of the first Red Dead Redemption. I'm trying to finish up with it so I can finally move on to the second one. But that's pretty much it on the gaming side of things. The only thing I want to shout out, something that I started listening to, is a podcast by the name of Finding Drago, or Drago as he should be called, but they call him Drago. So it's a podcast, an Australian podcast, hosted by comedians Alexi Toliopoulos and Cameron James. And basically it's a riff on investigative journalism, kind of like Serial, that kind of vibe.
Okay.
But the subject matter, it's kind of an American Vandal type thing of just totally ridiculous type subject matter. But you apply the template of like this serious investigation to it, and it makes for hilarity. So It's about these two guys attempt to track down Todd Noy, the author of Drago on Mountains We Stand, which is an unauthorized literary spinoff from Rocky IV that chronicles the life of Ivan Drago after the events of Rocky IV as he tries to rebuild himself in Soviet Russia.
Okay.
So the thing with it, like, I guess probably the catch of like, okay, so it's, this weird fan fiction-y type thing about Drago. All right, there's plenty of fan fiction out there.
Is it a podcast or is it like an audiobook kind of situation?
It's a podcast. So I think it's a 7-part podcast. It's free. You can go to, iTunes, Spotify, whatever you listen to. But within the body of... So basically they get the book. They manage to secure a physical copy of the book.
And there's podcast.
Yeah. As part of it, they got their hands on the book, and they're looking at the about the author section, and it says that the book is affectionately referred to as Noy's final masterpiece. And there's a bio that says that Noy disappeared in January 1992 after a long battle with alcohol and drug addictions. Presumed dead, a memorial service was held in his honor in Perth, Western Australia, in December 1995. And so they go in this rabbit hole of like, who the fuck was Todd Noy? Like, what was he? It's like he said, he's like a Pulitzer-winning journalist, like wrote for several magazines, and like there's no record of this guy ever anywhere. There's no information about him. Like none of his books that he claimed to have written were published anywhere. There's no way to find them. And like the Goodreads page had a review from like 4 or 5 years ago, like was like this little fucking novella written into it, just talking about like how like on this chance encounter, like when they were in like a foreign country, someone just like happened to like, hey, I have this book and it doesn't quite fit into my luggage, but here, just have it. And like they handed this book to, it's an 87 fucking page, it's a little tiny ass book. They hand it to this person, and it's just like this little series of events talking about how they were so in love with like this book, and like it was just like one of the best vacations I've ever had. And just the way it was written was just like, what the fuck is happening here? Like there's just
it sounds really good.
It was this super weird thing happening. So they ended up tracking down a physical copy of the book, and it was a brand new book. And on the title page, it is signed by none other than Todd Noy, the man who had a memorial service held in his honor in December 1995. So they're trying to unravel the mystery of what the fuck is happening.
But
here.
it's all a skit for the podcast.
Kind of. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like it is a real thing that they're doing. Like this is a real thing. Like this is a real book. It's a real actual book that someone wrote.
So that guy, the Pulitzer-winning guy, is a real dude who wrote a little novella that was hand-signed.
So someone wrote this book. The question is, they obviously have... I'm only 3 episodes in, I think, of 7. So they've obviously created this very elaborate pseudonym for themselves. But is it a case of, like, is this like a famous author that just, like, was just bullshit in their way and just, like, I just made this dumb little fan fiction for Rocky IV? And... I don't know. Like, I don't know what the end of the story is because I haven't gotten there yet. But I really don't know. But it's just the whole thing is so ludicrous that it's super entertaining as a result. And these two guys are great fun. We talked about how you like Graham Norton and all that. I find myself gravitating a lot of times towards Australian humor for some reason. So like most of the podcasts I listen to are Australian based,
right? And
so that's how I got turned on to this. Is two of the ones I listened to were like, holy shit, this is amazing. Go listen to this right now. And so
Finding Drago, I'm going to look into that.
So yeah, it's fun. And I think all in sum total, it's probably like 4 or 5 hours of listening. So it's
not bad.
You can crack it out, I think. And my goal is to I'm just listening one after another right now. So I'll hopefully be done by the next time we record. But I won't tell you the secrets of Todd Noy if they discover him, because I've been kind of like holding a breath because like I kind of want to like see if I can find some stuff online and spoil the end, but I'm trying to hold out and like go on the mystery with them. I can say this. So there's a Facebook page for the book. It's called Drago on the Mountains We Stand, and apparently if you private message them, and they like you can give them their address and they will send you the book. I think you have to pay for it or whatever.
Right.
But I'm kind of like trying to get to the end of this, and I'm like,
I'm gonna buy.
I'm really tempted to get the book, but I'm kind of just like, I kind of want to know the end of it, like to really get a feel for it.
Right.
If I should go that far with it, so I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely a lot of fun. I would recommend it.
I tell you what else is good fun. I forgot about it, but this has been a big part of my commute to work, my commute home, and commuting anywhere, and sometimes before I go to sleep. And that's Good Omens. Good Omens is good
You
fun.
listen to the audiobook. Cool.
Yes. And I think I think it's a 12-hour audiobook, if I'm not mistaken, which isn't bad. And I think I'm like 5 hours in, and I think that shit's pretty hilarious. I think it's pretty great. And be honest with you, the Amazon thing came. I've seen a little bit of stuff from the Amazon thing, and up front, I don't know how I feel about it. But if it's as good as the book, if it's written as good as the book, I think it's going to be a show worth talking about for sure. So I'm real excited for the show to come out, just based on the fun I'm having with the book. I really enjoy that. Actually, might be a good thing for our boys over at Ink to Film to talk about.
Yeah, might be on the radar already. I'm not sure.
Boom. That's all I got.
All right. Well, that's all I got as well. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, spread the word. I'll talk about Patreon yet again, even to those that dissent. So Ace Ventura is our timed exclusive bonus episode that's up right now. All you got to do is head to watchreviewrepeat.com, our website, click the premium tab in the top left, and then click the Become a Patron button. So $2 a month will get you access to our bonus episodes, and it will get you early access to all of our regular episodes as well. So I think that the biggest thing to pull out of Patreon stuff right now is we're going to be doing the Game of Thrones whole series all the way through, and we're roughly targeting about every 2 weeks for it, with season 1 hopefully dropping within a week or so. So there's going to be lots of great Patreon bonus content, easily worth $2 a month, I can tell you that. So get on it. Social media, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, at WRRPod is our handle. We can be located on Facebook. You can locate us on Facebook if you so choose by searching for Watch Review Repeat on there. Questions, comments, and suggestions can be sent over to our Gmail account, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. We recently had some emails sent into that inbox, which was a nice surprise, and one that was appreciated. So perhaps some of our other listeners might want to follow suit. Maybe they'll get a shout out on the podcast. That's incentive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode, gonna be pretty quick turnaround, I think. Alita: Battle Angel.
Yes.
I guess it's, as of recording this, I think it just came out, technically speaking. So it's I'm excited about it. We almost had a chance to see it a couple weeks ago. But didn't work out for us, but we're going to see it now, and we will deliver our thoughts on it very shortly. So look forward to that. I got nothing else for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Andrew, I'll let you take us out.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Ladies on the Menjay.